Hello and good weekend. This is Doc Severson for the ReadySetCrypto OMNIA trade of the day for Sunday, the 7th of February. Looking at Bitcoin versus the US dollar, first thing we need to do is to go ahead and set that expected move into the end of the month. Probably this is the last time that we'll do this in February, and then start picking on the March contract. First thing we want to do is to find the at the money straddle for this March contract or this February contract. And what I'm going to do is pick that contract and then go to the closest strike at the money, which is about 38,000 here. What I'm going to do is add up the cost of the puts and the calls long, add them together, and they're going to come to about $7,100. So we haven't had that much decay over the course of the last week. Last week's expected move was about $8,000 into the end of February. So actually, if we look at that though, back to the chart, we have almost, since last week when we calculated this, we've almost made that expected move in the course of 1 week, what should be the move for the rest of the month. So this tells you that the price may have gotten ahead of itself, and we're starting to see this sort of very common in this market. We're starting to see this very common sort of rounded base configuration, whether it's going to be a rounded base and then followed by that cup pattern followed by a handle, which actually would be preferable, or whether we're going to have a rounded base followed by just a straight breakout. We don't know that yet. So if we take the price at 37,600 and change, and if we add plus and minus 7,100 to it, what we're going to find is that we have the upper expected move into the end of February of 44,730. 44,730. So I'm going to raise this up and get close enough to it. That's close there. And then the lower expected move level for the end of February is 30,530. And we'll get close to that. And then we're going to just pull this back to today. And you can see how the probability cone has actually shrunk quite a bit because we're getting closer and closer to that expiration level. So this represents a 68.2% probability going forward into basically the end of February. So there's a 68.2% chance based on what options traders have priced going forward that the price will be somewhere in this area. Now, a couple of things should call themselves out to you. Not only did we establish a price floor with the recent consolidation down at about 30,000 or just below there. Not once did we close below 30,000. Also, the expected move is showing that that expects the price with a high degree of probability to be above that level. So right now we're really setting a price floor at about 30,000 right now. And this is a place where we could potentially sell a put on the next pullback to be some level at 30,000 or below that. Now, if I go out to my option broker LedgerX, and we're getting a little too thin to be trading into February now. We have to be looking out to the March level. So this is going to be about 6 weeks out. And you can see that right now the 30,000 strike is going for somewhere in between 1,200 and 2,200. It's a wide spread, but normally you can negotiate somewhere in the middle here. I would say somewhere around 1,500 looks like a likely fill for that. Now, if we're going to trade, let's just normalize to one contract for a minute. If we receive 1,500 for trading one of those contracts and we're putting up 30,000 that we're willing to be assigned by, that equals a potential return on capital of 5%. Again, that's not bad for a passive income. You basically don't have to do anything at all to that. If you say that I'm willing to buy at 30,000 because this is a super strong level, then you set up the put, you sell it. Again, don't sell it down at the bid. You want to sell it somewhere near the midpoint and see if you can get a fill. You might have to take an hour or two to get a fill, maybe the majority of a day. You just don't know. But a 5% return over the course of 6 weeks, this is how you build wealth. Now, we can subdivide this If we want to take a tenth of the Bitcoin, we're going to receive $150 and we're going to put up $3,000 of capital. If you don't have that big of an account, you're going to receive $15 and you're going to put up $300 in capital. So it just depends. I think that's about as far as you can subdivide it. I think you have to have at least a $300 cash account to be able to sell one micro contract for Ledger X. So the price has come a long way in a very short period of time. I'm anticipating this to perhaps consolidate around in this area if we check our energies. However, yeah, the energies are getting a little low. It's not into exhaustion on the daily chart, but more than likely that will catch up and go into exhaustion fairly soon. What we're really waiting for is the weekly chart to kind of charge up. And I can't wait to see what happens to this as the market turns over today, which is in about 7 hours from now. More than likely, we're going to have a much higher level. So the weekly chart's charging up. It's doing exactly what it should be doing. I have to emphasize this to you guys. The market is doing precisely what it should be doing in Bitcoin versus the US dollar. Okay, so that's BTC. Let's look at Ethereum. Ethereum is getting crushed today. This is a very common market pattern to see from an ascending triangle breakout. From here, we have basically the measured move is the open end of the triangle. We just about hit that. And a lot of times when we do see a breakout from a consolidation pattern, we'll break out certain distance, fall back, maybe retest from above, and then we should see, emphasis on the should, is that we should see a very strong rebound from there. Now, maybe this is only going to go as low as 1,500 because we do have some upper wicks up here, which are about 1,500. So it may be done. Now, the way that you check for that is you're going to go down in time frame. You'll go down in time frame. You're going to look for things like this. Reversals start from the inside out. So if we assume at this level that this is the support level, and it's going to come down and test, in this case, 1480, to find out whether or not this is going to actually repel and provide a support floor for that. What I'd want to see is I'd want to see just wicks down here. I'd want to see candle bodies at or above 1460, and then start to see this thing reverse back to the upside. Change in polarity, and like the hourly chart or maybe something smaller, rebounding off of 1480. All right, let's check some other coins today, and we're seeing a lot of these just into, just choppy conditions today and not really making much progress. So we've had an extraordinarily strong last 3 or 4 days, and it's not surprising that we're seeing a little bit of profit taking in some of these super strong. I mean, look at this AAVE, and just about everything under the DeFi crown has come a long way in a very short period of time, and so it's not surprising to see these get pounded back down again in the short term. Now, the one coin which has kind of captured everybody's imagination, and even Elon's getting involved with this, is the mighty Doge, up 18% today. So Dogecoin is leading the market today. So you may be asking yourself, where on earth can I trade Dogecoin? Well, it's not through Coinbase. They don't offer them yet. Apparently they don't take them seriously. So if I go over to CoinMarketCap, we can just look at this in Dogecoin. If we select markets, there's a lot of different ways that you can trade this, but man, for, literally 6 cents a coin, it's hard not to just get involved with this in some way or another. So there's lots of different ways to trade the mighty Doge, depending on what currency you want to base this on. I would enter this, you could enter this on BTC again, but I would want to keep this denominated in dollars or some type of fiat currency. So I wouldn't give up Bitcoin just to get into Doge. I would try to find a way to get into this through some type of stable coin, US dollars, some type of fiat currency. So even Kraken in the United States is available through US dollars, and there's euros, like I said, BTC, USDT. So lots of different ways to get into this one, but man, it's like, why not? Why not for 6 cents? get into some Dogecoin and have a little fun. Now, what have we learned over the last few years about meme coins like this that capture the attention of everybody? They will scream higher for a short period of time, and then they absolutely get the crap pummeled out of them on the backside. So look for ways to get into them on the backside and then lever up and see if you can catch the next pump. But, you know, these are not really buy and hold coins. You know, these are not hodling coins. This thing will eventually, there's really, unless somebody can prove otherwise to me, there's really no value in something like this. Quick look at some of the other altcoins that we follow out there. Nothing is really moving all that much. I mean, we're getting a little bit of upside movement just because BTC is a little bit down today. But, you know, unless something is up 20, 30%, this is not really alt season. I was almost ready to call this alt season a couple of days ago, just because everything was up and it was just so 2017-ish to look at the market and just see all green across the board, regardless of what you looked at. It was phenomenal. So my plays are still with value. My plays are still really centered around the top two, but you know, when we have an opportunity for something cheap, have a little bit of fun with it, enjoy yourself, and learn something from it. Learn how to play these things, because the market's always telling you how it wants to measure value in markets like this. All right, folks, that is it for today's report. Have yourself a great weekend. Enjoy the Super Bowl if you're in the States, and we'll see you back here on Monday.